Welcome to Gravel Pit Road. This, my friends, would be called a chisel plow. Chisel in that it has these points sticking out of the bottom of those arms, and you can't see it, but they're actually not too worn out. It wouldn't hurt to flip them. That's what a fresh point looks like, and that's what a worn point looks like, but I don't think there's that many hours on this. I don't know for sure, but this is a supplement, kind of a replacement for a mowboard plow. For those of you who don't know, a mowboard plow is the implement that goes on the back of a tractor that digs into the dirt and flips it upside down. So you can go right into a field of sod, grass, flip it over, and start fresh with dirt on top. This does not do that. This is kind of like a cultivator. It goes through cutting a groove in the ground, and just kind of separates the dirt, busts it up, breaks up compaction, opens it up, aerates it, gives water a place to go down, and they work pretty good. This type of unit would be used in like a limited tillage application, not necessarily a no-till because you're tilling something, but if you want to disturb the soil minimally and still break up the soil, break up compaction, this is the tool to use. Now this unit I bought from a farmer 5 or 6 miles from here a long time ago, and it is by all measurements way too much for that little bitty tractor right there. That's a 95 horsepower engine, 70 or 75 at the tongue. That would be measured new as a new tractor. I'm sure it's far less than that now. And this unit, I'm thinking probably was sitting behind like a 150 horsepower tractor, twice what I have sitting there. And I'm sure they could drop it and really do some work in the ground. I can't do that. I'm not even sure today if I'm going to be able to pull, but we're going to find out. The weather conditions are moderate for doing this. Well, we're going to find out here very shortly. But the overall weight on this unit is tremendous. This steel is ridiculous. I don't have no idea why they built that thing so stout, what they were doing with it. The unit I would need for this tractor would be like a 3-point unit or something really small, and it would be contained just in this area right here, from there to there. All that metal does not need to be here. But that's the way it's built, and I'm going to put it to work. But because of all the grass cover, you really can't see what I did. But if you look down here, it has dug a trench that is a good 5-6 inches deep. If I go any deeper, I'll get into the hard clay, and that is not going to help me. I don't want to drag that stuff up. But there's a trench there, and there. I don't know if it's going to do any good or not, but I guess I'll do this little field, break it up. Maybe I won't have so much trouble getting in it in the spring. so I made an adjustment. This tractor has multiple speeds. It's got high and low ranges, and then you have a shifting transmission over here, which is three speeds. Reverse is forward, first, over, second, back is third. And then you put your speed range over here. So I found a good work range that I can run third gear in here. Doesn't work the engine hard. I'm probably going 3 or 4 miles an hour, which is really fast for something like this in a little tractor as far as I'm concerned. So let's see how it goes. I'll call it quits on the chisel plow operation. My tractor is low on hydraulic fluid. It's leaking out of the pump, I believe. And it's getting where I can't raise and lower this thing. I can lower it, I can drop it, that's not a problem, but raising it is, as you can see, this how I just got here to park it. And I backed up to here and I had to pull forward and I couldn't get it to go up. I'm that low on hydraulic fluid. It was spitting air when I unhooked my hydraulic lines, but you can see what it's doing just from me backing up and going forward. It's going down to the clay, and that's about where clay is here in this part of southwest Ohio. You get, 4 or 5 inches of topsoil if you're lucky, and then you're into hard stuff. So, they may call it hard pan or compaction and blah blah blah. When you're dealing with clay, it's clay. I don't believe that there's any breaking it up. This is it. You got that much topsoil, and that's what you're growing on, and you either succeed or fail, because it's concrete underneath that soil. That just becomes concrete in the summer. That's as hard as a rock, and you're not going to loosen it up. There's nothing you can do about it. You got thousands and thousands of acres of that right there. And they do all right. They grow it. So anyway, I think what I'm gonna do on this, as I was using it, just really contemplating on how this thing was operating and what I'm using it for with that little tractor. And I never have a horsepower issue with these implements that I'm using because they're all small. It's traction. I start turning my tires and spinning, and that's a ballast issue on that tractor. So I've got weights hanging off the front called suitcase weights, and I unloaded the rear tires. A lot of farmers will fill the tires front and rear with calcium chloride liquid, or they got other special stuff they put in them. But the calcium chloride that this tractor came with, that'll rot the rims out. If it'll spring a leak in the tube that's inside that tire, it'll completely rot the rim out, and then you're buying a rim and probably a tire. And so when I got it, I just unloaded them, and that causes a problem when you're pulling stuff because you're light where the seat is. So I'm heavy in the front and I'm heavy in the rear, and as you can imagine, it's like a teeter-totter. It's like the the back end is pulling down, the front end's pushing down, and the tires go up where my knuckles are. That's a problem. You put weight in those tires, then that levels everything out. So I can get wheel weights that'll bolt in. They'll bolt, I believe, into these holes right here, these squares. And I see them floating around on Marketplace. I'll probably pick up a couple weights. I don't know how much they weigh. I'm sure they're heavy. You know, I don't know, 100 pounds. I have no idea. But I'll put them on and see if that helps ballast things out. Oh, one note. So how this thing is built is based on that rust right there and there. I'm guessing there were probably chisels there when I bought this. I probably have them laying around somewhere. And in the back, there might have been some chisels. Looks like I moved some stuff around because there's a spot right there. I probably moved that over there, and as I took stuff away. Anyway, I like how it's set up. It flips pretty good. Nothing gets clogged. There's no big voids. I like how it is. I may not have done that. May have already been like that. However, here's my point. I have no need for all of this metal. That metal from there all the way back there. That's just, I bet that's between both sides, that's probably 200 pounds. And if you look at the structure on how it's built, this cross beam here that everything is riding on is welded. It's welded to this. So what I think I'm going to do is I'm going to cut this off right about here. And, you know, that just exposes this to get hit, you know, if I hit something, but oh well, that's pretty beefy. It would take a lot to bend it, but I'm sure I could do it. Hopefully it would break those bolts before I bent it. Anyway, I'm gonna cut that off there, and I'll leave this on because it's just covered in that wheel track. And I'm gonna cut this off about right here, and then take all that weight off on both sides. I bet that would significantly lighten this load up pulling. I mean, look at the tongue on this thing. Look at that weight. That thing is huge. But I can't do anything about that. But I can take about 200 pounds off of it, which may not seem like a lot, but when you go back to what I'm talking about on ballast, of lifting those tires up, lifting those back tires up off the ground, 200 pounds might be the trick. That might be what it needs. Now I'm gonna go jump on the backhoe and spread some gravel. If you want to stick around for a few minutes, this won't take long. I've got some gravel left over from another project, and I'm going to play with the backhoe and move this gravel into my driveway.